This is Professor Raymond Noble. The following are steps to be taken
Alright,
in order to dispel
welcome to another game.
deviate from them at your own hazard.
Please excuse my voice, I'm going through a bit of a cold right now. But wanted to basically go over the new prestige system that we have in this game, as well as showcase Lord Arthur. He's gotten kind of a rework to his power, where before it was you can affect the light attacks and the heavy attacks with your aura ability. Well, now he's got a weapon mastery with his sword, which is very nice. Feels very appropriate for him. So yeah, let's go over the prestige system. So it's very grindy, and it's definitely going to take some time. I forgot how many points I had. I think it was like 3 million or something like that. But I dumped them all into Kelly pretty much, and it came out to like basically prestige level 3 I got with her. And that's like base prestige level 3. I wasn't able to like upgrade her upgrade any of the benchmarks on it. But taking a look at it, you can see here for the leaders, you have basically kind of caters to what each of them does. So for the leaders, it's spending time in objectives, winning, performing finishers, which I find annoying. I'm not really a fan of doing finishers personally, and headshots. Let's see. And the next one is we also have warriors who basically dealing damage, which is what they're good at, killing basics, and then points in matches. And then looking at hunters, you have also damage, so you know they acknowledge that warriors and hunters are their damage dealers. And basic units.
Team has located the first piece of the map.
And then you get to the healers, the supports, and basically do a certain X amount of healing as well as the objectives, win, run a score. They know that supports aren't really here for damage. And what do you get with it? Well, you get some buffs to your abilities. So, for example, Kelly's is like counter shot, where if you make a dodge and then you shoot, it'll inflict bleeding at like, I don't know, 20%. Well, getting her to a certain level, I think prestige level 3, then it goes from 20 to 25%. So I wouldn't call it like a huge buff. It's not like something that's incredible, like, oh my god, you're going to be unstoppable with it. It's just a nice little buff to your character, I guess you could say. They also get unique screamers that come with them, which I'm a little disappointed. I guess they didn't come with the challenges, because I thought that was a much easier way to spice up the game and put some variety in it. But it's something. And then you get a little wreath. As you can see on Hunter Ash and Warrior Ash, they have a little wreath of basically how much of their lives they put into this game. I got one too for my Kelly at like level 3. Hunter Ash is level 4, as you can see. Warrior Ash is level 1. And if the demons are also prestiged, you can see that as well, which looks pretty cool for them. Definitely makes them look more ominous and threatening. Let's see here. But yeah, so moving on to Lord Arthur here. He is, well, as you know, all the demons really got a buff, but Lord Arthur, he's got more pink F availability for melee damage. So, kind of like Annie, he can do the amount of damage, or not necessarily the amount of damage, but slightly under the amount of damage that a warrior can do. And what I mean by that is the pink F upgrades. If you max out melee, you get 20% damage as well as a 7% speed increase to your swings. On top of that, he's as we've also said, he's got the sword mastery, which is very cool. I think it actually gives him a lot of potential now. Kind of like how Scotty, Scotty's amazing simply for the one reason that his mastery is the axe. The sword's also a really good melee weapon, and for Arthur, that can be a game breaker. I know a lot of people kind of considered him to be the weakest character, which I disagreed with, but be it as it may, a lot of people figured he's like the weakest one. This definitely puts him up there, I think. He's got way more stamina than warriors, so his dodge, stick and move is a lot better. He can do fear reduction, so you don't have to worry about him getting possessed and swinging on people. So, kind of like Annie, he comes with benefits that hunters and warriors don't necessarily get. Yeah, you got a blue sword here, which is nice. Now, I haven't done one really on Leader Ash yet. Personally, I think he's probably the worst survivor. But he has benefits, but I don't know. His Leader Ash's ability seems to really be into basically, what do you call it? Stun locking. Or not even stun locking, animations. It's also why I'm not a big fan of Warrior Ash. It just seems like their ability is best used when they're doing animations, which are tedious, time-consuming. Like, if you're looking to clear out a room, it's so much quicker and easier to just swing away instead of basically getting an animation after animation after animation. It's a nice legendary sledgehammer, but I got mastery and I got a blue sword. I'm gonna keep the blue sword. But yeah, I can't sing the praises enough for their buff they did to leaders. They're so much more applicable now in situations where before it'd always be like 2 warriors and 1 hunter, 1 support. Now as you can see in our group here, we have a well-rounded group of 4, 1 in each category, and it's nice. I feel like it's the way it's meant to be played. They also gave a slight buff to Evil Ash and Henrietta, which I would say was kind of long overdue. Especially as like a hunter, like someone who can dodge, they were never particularly threatening, just because they were so slow. So I guess now, when you do chain attacks with them, they do it a lot quicker. So they're a lot more in your face and kind of obnoxious about it. And I haven't noticed a huge difference with Evil Ash yet, but it's definitely noticeable with Henrietta. She's a lot more vicious when she gets in your face, which is how she should be. And they also did another change too, where they basically tweaked the accuracy of the crossbows and the saw guns, which I would say was definitely needed, because trying to use especially the saw gun before, its aiming was weird. I think it's because they're trying to go for how it's slower, because it's like a, I don't know, bolt action or something. I don't know the exact word for it, but basically it spits out like a dart, and I guess they're going for the speed of a dart that spits out to that speed, but it just never really felt right, I guess. Same with the crossbow. Like, you kind of have to like aim a little bit ahead or a little bit behind. It was weird. Like, it wasn't very intuitive like the rifles and handguns are. So that's also a nice welcome change. So the finishers, I mean, as much as I don't like them, I understand them for Leader Ash and for Arthur. Because Leader Ash and Leader Arthur, I mean, they do something with their aura when you're in a finisher kind of thing. However, Annie, I don't really see why doing the finishers is necessary. She's not really meant for finishing, she's meant for range, you know? But either way, I'm glad they gave the prestige system in, because before we were just sitting on points, like, we were just sitting on a shit ton of points, like, I don't know, like Smaug from The Hobbit, you could say, with like nothing to spend them on. So at least giving us this, even if it's gonna take a while and it's tedious, you know, it gives us something to work towards if we really like a character and really want to work on them. But yeah, before really understanding the meta of this game, I know I really preferred Arthur, just because he seems like a jack of all trades. I'd say he still seems like that. His range is not bad. It's like on par with that. It's actually a little bit better than a support's range is. So it's good in a pinch if you need it, like in situations where someone's possessed and you don't want them closing the distance. But yeah, he's basically like a mini warrior now. In fact, I'd be curious to see how this combination we have would go if we had two warriors and the blacksmith, since the blacksmith's kind of like a warrior himself. Now that hunting rifle is tempting. I do like those, but I don't want to be using the same ammo as Hunter Ash there. Something I always try to avoid or try to work on is conserving ammo. Oh yeah, and shields too. If you do use an amulet as a leader, you take when something hits you, if you max it out, it takes away a certain percentile of your damage. How much exactly? I don't really remember, but basically what that means is, let's say you're playing typically and you have a shield bar on. Something hits you and then half your shield's gone. Now, once you max it out and then you use an amulet, then something hits you and then like a quarter of it's gone. So it's a little bit like a warrior there. It's kind of lets you be more economical with your amulets, you could say. But yeah, leaders have definitely been a lot more fun to play as now. They feel like they can fit the meta instead of like kind of being a burden on it like they used to be. And I mean, Arthur in melee combat can hold his own typically. He's not a clear-cut case too. Like you have like a warrior, and like as a warrior, you typically want to like jump in the demon's face every time they possess something and just like smack him. With something like Arthur, sometimes if the warriors are already attacking them, just make sure they're in your aura and just attack off the basics. Speaking of which, holy hell, the basics are so aggressive. Definitely a far cry from how they started out as. Like, there'd be like a group of them kind of staring at you, waiting for like one after another to come in, like an action movie. Now they're just harassment. Like ping pong, it just happens so much more. But I think it's a good natural balance of the game. Gives demons an edge that was good for them. Yeah, we didn't have the warrior for that. It's really just the support and the leader taking down Evil Ash by themselves. It's the power of these buffs, man. I hope they keep doing hybrids. I kind of like how each character you can play a little bit of a hybrid as, like, for example, Kelly with the hammer, or Annie with Hunter. So again, as you can see, Arthur is still kind of squishy. He's still, he can't tank damage exactly like a warrior, but I think there's a way to play around that. He does have 4 stamina, so he has, what is it, like 4 jumps? He's got 4 evasive jumps he can do, so I don't know, especially against something like Evil Ash, who's really slow and lumbering. Just swing, dodge, you know, typical stick and move kind of stuff. Looks like they're figuring out weapons. Now, this is Arthur before the sword mastery. I probably would have picked up that lumberjack just because it's got slightly better range than the sword. But it's nice how they made the sword as mastery. You can swing that thing quickly. It basically feels like a mini Scotty with it. Oh yeah, and that's another little tip to know about Arthur too, is if your fear is getting high, even if you're not in combat, using your ability actually does take down your fear. Sort of like Warrior Ash and his potion. Yeah, so Arthur's strengths I've seen is he can really slice through a mob pretty quickly. He can also do pretty good damage to a possessed unit. However, if you're not careful with getting hit, then he can also eat up damage pretty quickly, as you're kind of seeing with my gameplay here. Say they're dealing with the dark ones, but I actually want to scout here real quick. I don't think anyone's been through here. Would be worth seeing if they have a Shems or something. See what I mean with the basics? They don't even give you a chance. They don't even really let you know their presence is there. They just come in swinging. And so I have amulets maxed out. Let's check out what happens if I get hit. Uh-oh. Looks like Hunter Ash is possessed. That could be dangerous. So, I mean, once the leader and warrior get maxed out, really the only class that really doesn't have any business with amulets is Hunter at that point. Support can amulet everyone with it. Warrior can do 2 for the price of 1, and leader they can get a percentile of it, basically helping them out. I believe if you really want to get amulet crazy, not 100%, but I'm pretty sure oh, he's doing good damage, but keep in mind, that's a legendary lumberjack axe, and it took down 1 bar. That's not bad. For a legendary on a warrior. But yeah, I believe you can do a build where if you really want to go amulet crazy for leaders, then I think you can reinforce your amulets on them, and then once you max it out, like Demon will hit you when you have your amulet reinforced, but not know why it's taking forever to go down. So could be some interesting plays with that. Yeah, so while Evil Ash, he can do, I guess he can chain attacks quicker now. He's still a really weak boss. Probably the weakest. I think Henrietta is more intimidating than him. The thing I do for his build is the last word. So basically the last swing you do does 50% extra damage. And given that he swings a lot quicker now with the sword, I say it's totally worth investing into. I say though, these three Army of Darkness guys together now, they're quite a formidable trio. I mean, one's a warrior and the other 2 are basically warriors, just with other perks. I don't know what that was. Maybe the demon's kind of giving up now. No. But it's our game at this point. Anyway, yeah, give Arthur a try sometime. He feels a lot smoother than he did before. And yeah, another thing to note too is the prestige system. So once the game's over like this, you can actually see on once you go to the next screen that the points that you've earned for it.
With the recitation of the passage, the physical manifestation of this dark spirit has been banished.
They got 4th, but man, we all did definitely some damage here. And we all killed the boss once. And then yeah, there it shows you your progress with prestiging. Anyways, there's Arthur and prestiging. Again, apologies for the sick voice, and take care.